Welcome back to DotLife. Excited today to talk about multilanguage learning, urban college, and the immigrant experience in Dorchester and Boston, Greater Boston. To help us with that conversation, I'm joined by Dr. Yves Salomon-Fernández. Hi, Yves. How are you?
I'm great. So happy to be here with you, Erin.
So happy to have you. And you're the president of Urban College.
Yes.
So let's start by talking about Urban College because there's so many colleges in the Boston area. And I admit I hadn't heard of Urban College. So you've got to tell me, how am I missing out on this one?
Well, most people would say that, but hopefully in the last 2 years that's been changing, and that is part of my job. So we are a 2-year college located right in the heart of Boston in the Theater District. We were founded by ABCD, which is down the street from us on Tremont Street, and we're sort of a niche college, and we appeal to a lot of folks who were born here as well as people who weren't born here. What distinguishes us the most is the fact that we offer instruction in addition to English in 3 other languages.
Okay.
So Spanish, Chinese, Portuguese, and we have just added a few courses in Haitian Creole.
Oh, great.
So yeah, that's a distinguishing factor for us.
Definitely.
And we have a ton of graduates across the city, across the state, who are working in a number of professions in early childhood education, in human services, and coming up now in business, in marketing. So those are some of the things that we do.
That's great. And is it all 2-year degree programs?
Yes, and
Okay.
certificates.
Okay.
So, yeah, 2-year degrees, certificates, and workforce training also.
And it's a nonprofit college.
Absolutely. Yes. Nonprofit, accredited, all the good things.
Great. And you are the president there.
I am.
How did you become affiliated with Urban? Where did your career there start?
Oh my gosh, my career started right here in the city of Boston. Actually, my very first job. Oh my gosh, maybe it's not my very first job because I'm thinking back to when I was 14. But one of my first jobs was working for Mayor Menino, and I was a political science major, studied doing that, loved it, and then had this passion for higher education, and then continued to progress in higher education and saw the way that it changed my life. And that's what attracted me to education. I've benefited from the great institutions of the city, of the state, Boston Latin School, UMass Boston, right up the street from us, Boston College, where I got my PhD, and had a chance to travel the world a little bit, and just wanted to bring all of that back home.
But you are not originally from Boston, correct?
No.
Okay.
Yes. So I am from Haiti originally. I came here when I was 12 and grew up in Dorchester.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. Right in Fields Corner.
Okay.
And that was where we spent most of our time. But when we first moved, we were closer to the Talbot Avenue, Blue Hill Avenue area. And then when I went to college, when I was in high school, my parents bought a home in Rozzie. They still live in Rozzie.
Okay.
And then went to college at UMass Boston, and I lived right here in Savin Hill, or not too far from here in Savin Hill.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah.
You've seen the whole Dorchester scene.
Yes, I have.
That's great. So you're bringing into this experience and into this conversation not just someone who serves populations who may not be native English speakers, but also someone who was not a native English speaker. Is that right? Okay.
Yes. So when I came here, actually, I went to the Woodrow Wilson Middle School, which is in the sort of Ashmont area. Mm-hmm. It was a bilingual program, which served me very well. And as a result of that, I learned English. I was mainstreamed into mainstream English courses. And at the same time, I studied learning Spanish.
Wow.
And so through the public school system, I actually became trilingual, actually quadrilingual, I take that back, because I grew up speaking French and Haitian Creole, both of those, and then came here and started learning Spanish and English together. So I continued with that, and that is also why I understand the value of speaking other languages. We're living in a globalized economy.
Yeah.
We have some of the best international companies that are based right here in Boston, right here in Massachusetts. I feel like every other day you hear there's a new company moving here.
Yep.
And we understand that speaking another language is an asset. So we want our students to not only master English and English proficiency and professional in English. But also, if you can have another language or two in your back pocket, why shouldn't you?
Why not? Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Not to mention a massive international student body that is here
Yes.
seasonally every year. So,
Yes.
a lot of them are also not native English speakers.
Right. And I would say our students are not so much the seasonal ones, but people who have found their way here and who are staying here. So they are our labor force. And when employers say to us, we are looking for people who are here, who want to be here, who will work hard, those are our students because we know they've figured out how to be here and how to thrive. And our work as a college is to make sure that we serve as this matchmaker for employers and for students who want to advance their lives. So, meeting labor needs and putting people on a path to sustainable family and socioeconomic mobility and hopefully build intergenerational wealth too.
Yeah. So let's kind of get into that specific experience that your students have. Are they typically younger, older? What is it like?
We have a mix.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a mix. Our students tend to be a little bit older.
Okay.
Historically, they've been a little bit older, but what we've seen recently is that we have a number of younger students who are saying, I want this, and I speak another language, or I've been here forever, but I like the fact that this college gets me.
Nice.
And that is, that cultural dexterity, that multiculturalism is something that we really harness really well. And I would say for people who are from here, we also serve students who are mostly first generation. So we get what it's like when you come in and you're like, what is a bursar's office?
All very unfamiliar.
Right? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. What's the bursar's office? So we don't use the term bursar.
I mean, I don't know what a bursar's office is.
And I want to see the registrar. Are you in trouble? The registrar wants to see you. Or you want to see it?
I feel like that person has a ruler all the time.
Right. Oh, what's the FAFSA? Right. So, I mean, I just went through that process. My son just went to college, and oh my God, it was like death by storms.
Yeah.
I mean, by forms. So really understanding that students may not know this, and when you're trying to translate these very sophisticated, esoteric financial terms, even in English, or the acronyms, right, of FAFSA, your EFC, your this or that, that we need to present it to students in a way that they can understand whether or not English is your first language, and to say, here's the upside and here's the downside. And sometimes people don't know that. So we meet people where they are. And sometimes it's using vocabulary that is accessible.
Right. So they're coming for associate's degrees. There's a variety of programs. Can you touch on, I think you mentioned a few, but what are some of the other programs that you offer?
Yeah, so we are just launching a project management program. We have a child behavioral health program that we partnered with the Children's Services of Roxbury to launch last year, and that's going really well. We have an elder care program because one of the things that we know is that our country is experiencing a silver tsunami.
Yeah.
So we have folks, even if you had a master's degree in something else, there are so many opportunities in healthcare and in other sectors serving that population that is aging.
Yeah.
And we also have a business program that we just launched, a marketing program. We have the early childhood education program. We have a paraprofessional program that we are also launching. So looking at the schools, the needs that they have, and how we can meet the needs of today's learners. They have complex needs. They bring great assets, but they need people who understand what it's like to serve an urban or a suburban population, and the challenges that families face today. So that's what we do, and those are our programs in addition to the historical early childhood education and human services. So folks are social workers, they are family child care providers, they are child care center directors. So we have students across an array of fields. We have CEOs right here in Dorchester, Roxbury, South End area, and across the state too.
Yeah. So what is the percent of them that tend to go, and this can just be a ballpark, but that tend to go on past urban college to further degrees, or versus exiting and going into the workforce?
Yeah, so some of our students, many of them have a bit of a lag time before they re-enroll in a bachelor's degree program or in a master's program, and others go straight into the workforce. And what we are seeing is a transition as urban college is evolving, more students who are going to get their degree immediately. So since we're here at close to UMass Boston, I'll cite one of our students who's also a member of our President's Advisory Council, Lily, who just graduated with her master's program from UMass Boston, and she's doing phenomenally well. But she started at Urban College, and she and some of her colleagues just founded this
cooperative.
Nice.
They got support from the city of Boston, and they're able to launch that. And we know that childcare is still a huge issue for us in the state.
Absolutely.
So,
and
yeah.
we're one of the most leading states on childcare.
Exactly. So if we're struggling, imagine what it's like for others.
Yeah. What is the situation that most of the students are coming in? You said a lot of them are first generation learners.
Yes.
Are they fairly new to the country, or have they been here through high school? Like, what is the
It's a mix.
demographic? Okay.
It's a mix. So we just had a student who graduated last year, who was on campus today. She was getting her headshots. We did headshots for
nice. Yeah.
grads. Crystal Ray, she's amazing. And she's from Cambridge. And she's lived in Cambridge her whole life, had a child early, and sort of delayed going to school. And then she first did her certificate degree, then did her associate degree with us, and then now she's enrolled at Lesley College to do her bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
So we have an array of students with an array of experiences who are right here locally and who want to further their paths. And I'll tell you one more pair, which was a mother and daughter team. I can't remember their names because it was from a couple of years ago, but they were studying together and they showed up to a student event together. So it's like that multi-generational. And that's what we want, right? Yeah. For you to not just be first gen, but to think first gen, next generation, next gen.
When people immigrate to another country, different language, how do they typically learning the language or expected to learn the language?
Yeah, so the thing that differentiates Urban College is that we allow students to come in at a lower English level than other two-year colleges. And we also allow them to take courses in their native languages at the same time as they are building their English language proficiency. So they come with some English. We don't accept people with absolutely no English, but we have partners that do that very well.
Okay.
So, for instance, Jewish Vocational Services does a really good job at that. You've got Catholic Charities that does a really good job at that. And we partner with them, and students can finish some of their basic English courses, and then they start taking courses with us. So they are able to start immediately in their career. They're not lingering in some English course. And that is also why we encourage people to get a certificate first, because a certificate has market value. You can say,
so you can work while you then continue your...
That's right. Yeah. As opposed to a 4-year degree, it might take you 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, but now you have a certificate and you can say to an employer, I have something.
I can continue to learn while I make a living.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And for employers that have tuition remission, et cetera, they can see, okay, you're making progress and you achieve this first milestone, then you get your associate degree.
Yep.
So some students who don't speak English well, for whom English is not the first language, they can start in that program and then they continue. And we also have folks for whom English is a native language. They just go right on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Immigrant populations have traditionally filled some incredibly important roles in the workforce and in society that I think we have often taken for granted. I think that's showing today. But talk about a little, where do these people tend to land once they have their degree, and how is that impacting the economy?
Oh, it's huge. And that's documented. I think when you look at the annual report that Northeastern puts out, or the Donahue Institute at UMass Boston, they actually measure the actual financial contribution of immigrants. And also, I believe the state Department of Workforce and Labor put out a report that said English proficiency is the single most important biggest barrier right now to filling some of the jobs. And they estimated it's like a value of like $1.3 billion of loss, lost profit, lost value, financial value. They actually put a number on it, that if we were to educate folks to become English proficient. So these are folks, in my opinion, who found a way to come here and stay here and want to be here. And we have labor shortages, we have labor gaps. So how do we make sure that they get not only the English language proficiency, but also the skills to be able to meet those hard to fill positions, or just positions that are open.
So at Urban, they're coming in, they're taking English classes to learn English, but then they're taking other classes to educate them in their degree area in their language.
Exactly. Okay. And we also have a whole arm that is workforce development. So these are people who are not degree oriented. They're not looking for a certificate per se. And they just want a skill to be able to do a job. And they have the ladder that can continue on the college side, which is what makes us different. That you can actually get a college credential and continue to make that progress. So for folks who say, I just need to get the skill for this particular job, or employers who say, here is the curriculum, or here is what we would like to teach, we'll work with them to design a curriculum and train people so that folks can go right back to work.
So you have a partnership with, for example, I think Raytheon is close by, not to, just to think of one nearby local employer. If they said, look, we want to bring in 50 new employees and we think they're going to probably come from this background, can you design a course load for them that will help prepare them for?
That's right.
Very
they
cool.
can say, these people work with us, and we want to upskill them. We want to bring them to the next level.
They already work with us.
They already, work with us.
Okay.
We want to invest in them. So Urban College will say, okay, what do you need to have them do? What is it that you want them to be able to do and to know? What are the competencies? So we start there, and then we identify what they already know. So knowing the base from which we'll be building, how much time they have, when the employer wants that done, and whether it is before work, during lunch, after work, remote,
virtual,
on their time, however it's done.
That's really unique. That's a very unique offering.
Yeah.
And I would imagine there are a lot of companies that are looking for that service.
Yes. And we're flexible. So that's the thing about being a private two-year college, is that we're malleable, we're adaptive. So if an employer say we want this, we try to understand exactly what is the problem, what is the solution that we can agree will solve that problem, and then how do we do it.
And do you work with companies around the country to do this?
Not around the country, mostly mass. Yeah. And it's great. I mean, we're still a 32-year-old college. We're growing. Sure, we have aspirations to work with companies around the country. But now we are serving our local employers. And we are deeply local and deeply committed to that.
That's great. Love that. Talk more about the immigrant experience broadly. So while they're juggling this education, they're also doing things like finding housing, finding jobs. What other things are in that whole ecosystem of things they need to be thinking about?
Yes. So I will say we have a lot of students who are born here and they have found their way. They know the systems. And when you're an immigrant, it's different. Everything is foreign. And also, I think people leave their cultures, they leave their homes, they leave their families, they leave their friends. They leave everything they've known to come here. So for many of our immigrant students, and I can relate to this as well, failure is not really an option. You didn't come here to achieve.
I tried.
Right.
Yeah.
So students work really hard. And I think the same can be said of our students who are here, who are from here, and for whom the American dream has been elusive.
Right.
So they want to work hard. They are here with a purpose, for a reason. They want to learn English. They want to work. And many of them are supporting families here, families back home, wherever home may be, and families who may be dispersed throughout the world. So I think there is a certain hunger. And I would say all of our students, whether they were born here or not, are strivers. They work really, really hard. And for us, they motivate us to meet them where they are and to make sure that they can hit the next level and the next level and set them up for success. And I will say one thing that also differentiates us that we're just starting is this emphasis on not just financial literacy, but financial competency, so that people understand this is how you build intergenerational wealth. And also these are the kinds of financial predators that may be out there. And so you need to understand when people say, I want to sell you this. What exactly is this? What questions should you be asking? So we're partnering up with local businesses to do that, and other higher ed partners. And it's something that just excites me right now.
Okay. Going back to what we talked about with the partnering with a company to create a curriculum for them, what happens if you don't have someone who can teach what they're looking for? Do you bring someone in? Do you
we look for people. So so if there are people who are aspiring faculty members, whether in workforce development or traditional college courses, we definitely encourage them. So
adjunct situation,
absolutely, always recruiting. So Erin, this is my invitation to you.
We can talk. I've adjuncted before. So.
Oh, that's great. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
I want to spend a little time on social networks because you came here as a child from Haiti.
Yes.
Did you? I mean, that Fields Corner area has a good Haitian population.
Yes.
How much did that help you land and find yourself in your social networks?
Yes. So I would say I wouldn't be here if it weren't for really good, generous people.
Yeah.
My school, actually, the Woodrow Wilson Middle School, had a number of programs for people who achieve perfect attendance, who achieve honor roll, and connected us with mentors, from Harvard Business School and elsewhere. And when I went to UMass, also the person who helped fund my undergraduate education is someone who's still a mentor and a friend, and my best friend from high school. And it was, she was a redhead, and she would come and tutor me in Dorchester, in Fields Corner area. And back then it wasn't diverse. Yeah. And so people would say, hey, who's this white girl in our neighborhood? But those are the people who also stayed with me. Yeah. And so that's really important. And so that's part of what we do at Urban College, to make sure that it's not on the off chance that you're going to meet someone, but that we have programs. And when I think of, say, like the Ward Fellowship at Boston Latin School, right? So many people have gone through that program. There's a structured program, and the aim is to make sure that we launch students, and you also get an opportunity to see if public service is something that you're into, and you could decide, no, not my thing, or I really like that, or it makes me more committed to citizenship and democracy and whatever. So that exposure is really important, and that's the kind of thing that we try to do. And I can talk a little later about our executive in residence program that tries to do that also. Yeah,
definitely. So I want to look at funding for a second, because I don't know if this is news to you, but we're not in the most immigrant-friendly environment right now at the federal level. Has that impacted your funding? And, where else are you getting kind of trickle-down effects from this federal environment?
I think it's a tough environment.
Yeah.
And I can't say that we are as committed to higher education as I've seen our country been in the past.
I would say that's a fair statement.
Unfortunately, right? No laughing matter, but that's the reality we're in.
What are you going to do if not laugh? Cry?
Exactly. Right. We have to laugh. We have to center our joy.
Yes.
And we had applied for an HSI grant, and first came the news that the Department of Education would not defend the HSI program, Hispanic Serving Institution program,
Okay.
when it was being challenged in court. So that was disappointing.
Yes.
And then we heard, oh, by the way, the funding that you applied for, you can no longer get. Because we're getting rid of HSI altogether, and we're also pulling away funding from minority serving institutions, that is not available anymore. So that's $2 million that we were relying on that
Just
were
a
not.
just a small
Yeah.
amount.
And so, you look at those things, and you look at TRIO programs that serve underprivileged students. Those are not minority students. That's everybody.
Yeah.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
So it is disheartening. And at the same time, I think there is also a strong community here in Massachusetts that is very committed to higher education and see the ties between higher education and a strong economy, a strong democracy, and sees value in educating everyone, not just some people, and in keeping that accessible and making sure that everyone has the opportunity to achieve the American dream. So it's nice to live in the state. And it's also nice to see, let's just say it, the folks, our public servants, our public officials are also committed to that and saying, what can we do? We have great partnerships with the mayor's office. We have great partnerships with the governor's office and the other state agencies. And it's really reassuring to see people who not only care on a human level, but also who care about the economic well-being, the financial well-being of the state that they are elected to lead. So it's very comforting, and to also see private citizens, people who are saying, how can we help? I care about these things. I don't know what to do. Well, if you don't know what to do, come volunteer, come teach, and yes, give us your resources.
Right.
Be generous.
But you also have another, a newish funding source.
Yes.
Can you talk about the new foundation?
Yes. So most colleges have a foundation. Urban College has not had a foundation. And we are at a time where we realize we cannot rely on certain sources of funding indefinitely and to exist in perpetuity, and to meet our students where they are, because life is much more difficult than it was 50 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago when
6
you and I
months
went
ago.
to college. Yeah, got that right. Yeah, exactly. So we decided to create a foundation, and we reached out to a few folks and to say, hey, we're thinking about creating a foundation. Our mission. So first we reached out to folks we already know, who've already been involved with the college, and say, would you be interested? And what we saw was an overwhelmingly positive response. And it's just been great to see a number of folks, local entrepreneurs, our former mayor here in Boston and labor secretary, who said, I am more than ever committed to this college, Mayor Walsh. We saw Tom O'Brien, who also stepped up to say, I want to do what I can. This is an issue that affects us all. And to also see local entrepreneurs like the Piñas, Nivea and Hector Piña, say, yes, what can we do? This is deeply personal. And just, I could name every person on our foundation board, and other folks who are not on the foundation who say, I want to help. So, I continue to extend invitations to say to folks, if you care about these issues, if you care about a thriving, strong economy, if you care about equity and folks having access to achieving the American dream, please partner with Urban College.
So the best way to get involved, if people listening want to, is it the Urban College of Boston Foundation Committee, or is it, as you said, volunteering, teaching,
all of
the above?
All of the above. People who want to help or just want to have a conversation.
Right.
I'll say, I want to better understand this issue. I can't stop talking about Urban College, so I'm always up. I'm always game. Yeah.
That means you're in the right job.
Yes, I love my job.
I love that. So, one other question, I think, around the immigrant experience. Citizenship right now is a little bit tougher to get. At least it seems that way. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Okay. Yeah.
So
all the fees have gone up.
The fees have gone up
for everything.
The times are always long to get the process going. Are you seeing any impacts on, are people leaving when their visas expire? What's the impact on the actual size of the population so far? Have you seen much?
what I am seeing is an impact of a lot of things.
Okay.
It's a compounded impact. Cost of living.
So high.
People are saying food is expensive. So we have students who didn't return this year, and we reached out to them to say what happened.
And they're still here. They're just not attending college.
Yeah. And we have people locally too where they're going to go.
Yeah.
So they say it's financial obligations, family obligations, and uncertainty. So those things, those are issues that people who are financially vulnerable experience. Food and housing insecurity. And when you have children, it's another hardship. And mental health issues are also on the rise at our college and elsewhere across the country. We are seeing that. So it's the compounded effect of those things. And being poor right now, it's very hard. And even people who are not your definition of like poor, right?
Right.
Like life is just hard. The cost of food. I have a teenage, I can't call him a boy. He's a young man. He's now 18. But I know how much he eats. Imagine if you have 2 boys, 3 boys, 4 boys.
Right. And girls aren't far behind.
Yes,
they eat a lot too.
Yes, they do. Yeah. My daughter told me she's going through a growth spurt. I said, yes, you are.
She's setting the stage right now. I'm going to be eating more, Mom.
Yes. So all of those things, they compound. And then I think when you are in a mixed status family, you also worry about loved ones, family members. And I need to be carrying my documents with me at all times.
Right.
And I remember what it was like. I used to have a green card. And and I was fearful then. And
even things like traffic tickets can be
can be a reason.
Can be a problem.
Yeah. So these are challenging times, but hopefully they're not here forever.
I think that's a good note to end on. Before I let you go, though, last question I always ask guests: what is your favorite place to eat in Dorchester?
Okay, so I have 2.
That's fine.
One that no longer exists, but will forever be in my heart: the Blarney Stone.
Was that on .ev?
Yes.
I don't think I ever went in there.
Oh my gosh, it's at the edge of Fields Corner, across from the library. Okay. I spent years in the library when I lived in Dorchester, the Fields Corner branch. And when I was in grad school, my son would go and people would just touch his hair as if he were a little Chia pet. They just knew I took my son to the bar with me. But the Harp and Bard, I have so many fun memories that date so far back to college, and I still go there. And now they're a little fancier. They're a lot fancier.
They've definitely gotten fancier.
Yeah. Still love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was great to meet you, Yves. And we'll point folks to Urban College online and check out what they can do to help, or just be aware that this great institution exists.
Yes, it was great fun.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me.